Welcome to all on behalf of Jaipur branch of CISC of ICI to the virtual webinar on investment property requirement. Today we are with the Sri Anil Kumar Yadav sir, Chairman of Jaipur branch, Sri Kuldeep Gupta sir, Secretary of Jaipur branch, Sri Vimal Chopra sir, and Sri Harsha Ramnani. The topic of today's webinar is on investment property requirements under AS and under NDS. I would request Sri Vimal Chopra sir to address the webinar. Vimal Chopra sir is a practicing in CA firm in Chopra Firm and Company. He was chairman of CIRC of ICI in 2002. Before held at various posts up to vice chairman in Jaipur branch of CIRC of ICI. He was co-opted member of auditing and assurance standard board of ICI for 2018 and was a special invitee on committee on accounting standards for local bodies. He is presently on the treasurer of Bhagwan Mahavir Viklang Sahitya Samiti, famous of Jaipur food. He has been treasurer of Sri S. Jain Subodh Tirtha Samiti. He has addressed on more than 300 occasions on various national, regional seminars, conferences, workshops, orientation courses. Over to you, Vimal sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Hello. Welcome to everybody. My salute starts from the to the chairman of the Jaipur branch for providing me an opportunity. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah. So, my thanks to the chairman of the Jaipur branch for providing me an opportunity to go through with the provisions of AS and Ind AS 40 and AS 13 in particular. And it is my pleasure to listen to Harsha, who've been following quite a lot since last we met with Sunil Bhargavji, and thereafter I think a lot of water has flown, and it will be a feast to listen to her as regards the investment in property matter is concerned. Now, I mean, there are three very important terms as far as any accounting is concerned: the recognition, the measurement, and the disclosure requirements. So there are various accounting matters, transactions, which requires these three elements. Earlier we had AS 13, which included, which was named as accounting for investments, which included investment property in it. Whereas in Ind AS, we have a separate Ind AS, that is Ind AS 40, specifically dealing with the matters relating to investment properties. Now, as far as the property is concerned, there could be a few issues. One, it can be owned by an organization, or it could be under a leasing arrangements. As you all are aware that leasing arrangements could be two types, financial leasing and operating leasing. Again, they are connected with investment. Providing assets on operating lease is an investment for the lessor, and is an asset which is used by the lessee for goods or for renting of the services, etc. So the treatment will be different. As far as financial leasing is concerned, again the treatment will be different. So it's investment in property has to be considered vis-a-vis who is owning and what is the actual purpose. Now, the basic ingredient of investment property is that the properties are held, one, for rental purposes, two, for capital appreciation purposes, or it could be a combination of both the items, rental income or capital appreciation of the investment property. Now, in any accounting treatment or in any disclosure requirement or in any measurement matter, you have to consider these two conditions: rental income or. Now take example, a private limited company buying a property. Now the question will come before you whether it is covered as a inventory or as a fixed asset or as an investment. It will depend on its use. So as far as coverage is concerned, so there are aspects of use, there are aspects of ownership. Simultaneously, you have also to see that whether at all this Ind AS is applicable on you or not. As we all know that this is the phase 4, where the applicability has been extended to NBFCs whose net worth is more than 250 crore and up to 500 crore. And earlier it was gradually, made applicable on various type of concerns like banks or listed companies or insurance companies or bigger NBFC companies. The whole idea was that nowadays it is not only the accounting which you do, but the uniform way of doing the accounting. We all know that doing accounting involves making estimates, making provisions, and then disclosure requirements. Anything could be good or bad only by comparison. So if I'm comparing my balance sheet with other company balance sheets or with other balance sheets of the institutions which are in other countries, so you have to come to a uniform practice. That uniform practice is only possible through adoption of same or similar Ind AS or the accounting standard, as you say. Normally, there is also a very little topic which I would like to cover, that what is carve in or carve out, or why Ind AS or why AS, or why there are other type of institutions. See, you have to bring out uniformity as regards recognition, measurement, disclosure, all right. But you have to consider the local requirements as well. Local requirements of the country, local requirements of your governing body, or local statutory requirements. As we all know that MCA has listed various Ind AS which are mandatory, and from what date. So now it is not only the ICAI which regulates, but it is also MCA, it is also the other applicable pronouncements. So now bringing all them together, what you need to do is that, what we all need to understand is that earlier there used to be only accounting standard, now there's Ind AS. Now that Ind AS, we are particularly now concerned today with investment in property. And investment in property again is concerned with the or for appreciation. If the capital appreciation is the hello, आवाज आ रही? Hello. So if the capital appreciation is the objective, then a difference I would like to highlight here, that many times when we purchase the property to save the stamp duty and to see that the property gets registered in only in one company, so that we can, when we sell or when we develop the property, then our idea is to do business in the property. Once your idea behind buying the property is doing business, then this Ind AS is not applicable. And this, because this is not for rental and this is not for capital appreciation. This is number one. Number two, even if on a piece of land, some insignificant portion is utilized for the purpose of business in the ordinary course of business, like you have a marriage garden, or you have a open land which is used for whatever purposes, for rental or for capital appreciation, but a portion of that doing on dairy business, etc. So that is insignificant portion. So insignificant portion will never affect the total objective of the property, which is investment property. Similarly, temporary use, smaller use, or insignificant use also will not change the nature of investment of the property. Here's the second issue. Another issue connected with this is that fair value of the property has been carved out of this Ind AS 40, that is the portion of Ind AS which is applicable in our country. But that is only for the purpose of accounting. As I said, recognition, measurement, and disclosure. So as far as disclosure requirement is concerned, the fair value of the property has to be shown. And not only to be shown, it has to be compared with the earlier year, and it has to be got valued by a proper valuer, approved valuer, and you have to make a mention also. I would suggest that if the viewers go through with the balance sheets of, let's say, India Bulls or Parshanath or like others, you will see how the disclosure is being made. There's a movement, what was the opening balance, what is addition, deletion, and what is the balance, what was the position in last year, and there's a classification as well, which will give you the soul of this Ind AS 40, that is investment property. There's another thing. The another area which I would like to highlight here is that sometimes there is a confusion between what is the financing requirement, what is the financial lease, and what is the operating lease. It is interesting to understand the difference. See, the very important point is transfer of the risk or rewards. Whenever there is a sale, there is a transfer of risk and reward. The ownership gets done, and the matter is absolutely very clear. But as far as financial lease is concerned, operational lease is the risk, the asset, the ownership doesn't get transferred. Like in case of financial lease, the substance is finance. Almost all the future rentals which are coming, the present value of that is almost as high as 90% of the value. So that is basically a financial lease. The substance is that it is bought by somebody and then it is leased out, whereas the person who is lessee is making regular payments. So, and vis-a-vis, if we consider the operating lease, then the person who is owning it claims depreciation, and it gives the property on lease to somebody else who is to use it, generally for a period which is shorter than the period which is there in the financial lease. Take example, car which you buy, it is a case of financing. Take example, the cars which are owned by the company, which are given to its executives, and then with an option that you can purchase the car after a certain period to ensure the continuity of the gentleman in the company or other things. It is a case of basically a financial lease. Or as the case maybe, it could be an operating lease also, but there is a financial lease. The purpose is that the person should have it and give a very small value at the end of the thing. So whatever type of the transactions that are there. Another important thing is that in case of investment property, it is only land and building or a combination of land and building. All other type of assets are excluded because they are specifically dealt in Ind AS 17 relating to leases, if it relates to leases. So when we were considering AS 13, we were to consider all those things. But when we are talking about Ind AS 40, then we have to forget all those things. Just remember it for the purpose of better understanding of investment property, nothing else more than. So Ind AS 40, as far as it is concerned, investment property divided into three major parts: when you have to recognize it, and when how you have to measure it, and how you have to disclose it. Another important thing which I would like to add here is that it speaks about the assets which are held. It does not say that you have to own the assets. If the assets are held, then they are covered in investment of property. Because if the assets are under let's say financial leasing, then you are holding the assets. You are holding the assets, and they are intended to be owned by you at the end of the tenure. So it is investment in property. Or if the it is actually not connected with Section 32 of Income Tax or any general imagination which we have that assets has to be owned. No, it is not that case. So that is there. So as far as this disclosure, we have already discussed that fair value, though not covered for measurement, not covered for, but it has to be disclosed. Regarding measurement, we have also gone through with clarified that it is not that the asset has to be owned, even it is. Yeah, and the important thing which I should add to it is just to give you a practical example of what is and what is the popular use. Take example of airline. They have three kinds of leases. One is wet lease, or other is damp lease, or the third kind of thing is a dry lease. There's always innovation in the terminology. So when I say wet lease, it covers AMCI. That is, it covers aircraft, it covers crew, it covers maintenance, it covers insurance. It's wet lease. When I don't want wet lease, I exclude, let's say, crew. The crew will be provided by airline company, and it is AMI, the aircraft maintenance insurance. When I don't want anything, I just want aircraft, then it is dry lease. So my point is that because we say that the accounting is a science as well as it is an art. So in a country, AMCI model may suit me, or in a company where I have starving for the funds, maybe the dry, like Air India, I'm talking about a dry may suit. So whatever may be the company, whatever may be the situation, whatever may be the statutory laws, but is as an investor, I am owning the assets. How taxing, how beneficial it is going to be, or how my financial ratios will be important. In case of financial lease, neither there is an asset nor there is a liability, so my ratios are better or they are improved. So there are a lot of factors which affect the decision. So restricting now all those things, I have just tried to introduce the subject, the investments, vis-a-vis in AS40 and vis-a-vis AS13. AS13 was, it did not restrict itself only to land, building, or the land or building only, or just for rental or other things. It included a lot of other investment things as well. And lastly, I would like to add that whatever company that you are auditing, first of all, see whether this Ind AS 40 is applicable on you or not. If it is not applicable, then move to AS 13. If AS 13 is there, then move accordingly. And this both of the either AS or Ind AS does not apply to inventories. So most of the private limited companies, I think, prevailing in Jaipur, where we have a concept of buying the property and getting it registered in the name of any private limited company for saving stamp duty, or for restricting the liability, limited liability, or bringing the transparency, or using the or to comply with the banking requirements, loan requirements, satisfaction of various other ancillary law, etc. I don't think in Jaipur particularly there will be much cases of the Ind AS 40. With this, I think brief, Khushbu ji, with this brief introduction of the investment property regarding this Ind AS and AS 13, I have tried to cover more Ind AS and less AS 13, but then I would now like to listen to Harsha, who is an authority on the matter. So thank you, Khushbu ji, for giving me the opportunity, and thank you, Chairman, and through you to the entire team of the Jaipur branch for, you have converted this entire 2020 into a year of education. History will always remember it. Nobody thought that there will be attendance to this magnitude even in this period of COVID. So thank you everybody, and I wish this discussions to be as fruitful as the preceding earlier various VRMs were. And I wish all of you great success in your career. Thanks once again for providing me an opportunity.
Thank you, Vimal sir, for sharing your professional knowledge with us. Now, without wasting your time, I would request Sri Harsha Ramnani to start the session. Sri Harsha Ramnani. Sri Harsha Ramnani has also done Diploma in Information System Audit and a Commerce graduate from Kanodia Girls College from Jaipur with rank 1. She is also registered valuer for securities and financial asset class and has certification in forensic accounting and fraud detection and in India by ICI. It is also instrumental in presentation and preparation of background material for smooth implementation of new avenues in areas pertaining to India's Companies Act 2018. She is also author of two technical guide on how to perform an internal audit in textile industry and technical guide on Rajasthan Wax published by ICI. She has also authored various articles published in newsletter The Chartered Accountant of ICI New Delhi Jaipur, Chartered Accountant of ICI Jaipur chapter. She is also regular contributor of various write-up on technical and non-technical topics for leading newspapers and tablets. She is also regular faculty and trainer for the orientation training program and general management communication skills program conducted by the Jaipur chapter of CISC of ICI and other institutions. She is also secretary of SBA Research Foundation. She is also co-opted member of editorial committee of CISC for the year 2018-19. So over to you, ma'am.
Hello. Yeah, thank you so much, Khushbu, for such a nice introduction, and thank you so much, Vimal Chopra sir, for the insight on the Ind AS 40 and Accounting Standard 13, especially on the leases topic. So I was actually wanted to cover up the lease topic by you only, and you have already covered that topic. And thank you so much to Jaipur branch of ICA and CA Anil Kumar Yadav sir for giving me the opportunity to be a part of the branch as a speaker. So,
Just welcome, Harsha. Now it's over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So, Vimal sir gave us the insight about the Ind AS 40 and Accounting Standard 30, especially the Ind AS 40. As sir mentioned that we are already in the phase 4 of the Ind AS implementation, and NBFCs are also covered in the Ind AS implementation. So particularly why I choose this Ind AS for this presentation or for this seminar, it's actually for the purpose of Ind AS. We understand more topics, understand the provision specifically who are working in the Ind AS implementation. But somehow I think so that in India Accounting Standard 13, we are skipping particular that part. So that's why I choose this topic for today. And let me share my presentation first. Khushbu, my presentation is visible.
No, ma'am, your presentation is not visible.
1 minute, please. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sorry, there is, I think, a disturbance in the laptop from the laptop. So I'm going to take it from my laptop mobile only. So sorry for the interruption. Khushbu, may I share the presentation with you and you can share on the screen if possible?
Okay, ma'am, I will try.
Okay. Let me send you. So the investment property is actually property, land or building that is contains the Indias that govern the investment properties accounting is Ind AS 40.
हाँ. Harsha ma'am, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Ma'am, PDF अभी नहीं आई है.
I'm sending you on the Jaipur ICI Jaipur ID, my presentation.
Okay.
Yeah, give me 1 minute only.
मैम कैसे भेजोगे ना? ICI Jaipur ID. Manish sir?
Khushbu, I shared.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
On ICI Jaipur branch now?
Yeah, Jaipur branch.
Okay. One more thing, if any members have any queries, can send their query in chat box. We will take all the query after the session.
I think now my screen has been shared only. It's shared. Can you see my screen?
Actually, मैम वो शेयर कर रहे हैं. एक्चुअली मेरी आईडी पे नहीं आया, वो जापुर बैंक की आईडी पे आया, तो वो शेयर कर रहे हैं.
नहीं, मेरे लैपटॉप से स्क्रीन शेयर हो चुकी है, इससे पूछ रहे थे.
Okay.
So India's 40 is an investment property. The property, land or building or a part of the building that is held by owner or by lessee under the finance lease to earn the rental or a capital appreciation or both. Vimal sir ने हमें बताया था for the investment property there is no need the ownership of the that property. If the property we had under the finance lease, that also can be considered for the investment property purpose. The property which are used in the production or the supply of goods and services or for the administrative purpose and to sale in the ordinary course of business is not covered under the definition of investment property. And the same Ind AS 40 is not applicable for the biological asset and the mineral rights too. So the Ind AS 40 basically cover the investment property, that too particularly land or building or the part of the building that is owned by or the under the lease, finance lease for on rental or the capital appreciation. The examples of investment property that can be covered under Ind AS 40 are land held for the long-term capital appreciation, land held for the undetermined future use, building leased under one or more operating leases, vacant building held to be the leased, and building under construction or a development as investment property. there can be a dual purpose of the property. If some properties comprises a portion that is held to earn rental and or for the capital appreciation purpose, and the another portion is held for the use of production or the supply of the goods of the services for the administrative purpose. So in that case, if if that property could be sold separately, the portion that is leased out or the under the finance lease, then we account that portion separately as an investment property. But if that portion could not be sold separately, and if that insignificant portion is held for the production or the supply of the goods or services, then as a whole we will present this property as an investment property. The illustration that I have covered in my PPT is like, suppose there is a ABC Limited that is a supplier of the industrial product. In 2019, the ABC Limited purchased a plot of land on the outskirts of the major city. The area that has mainly low cost public housing and a very limited public transport facility. Now the management is asking us that how to classify such property held for the undetermined future use. So in that purpose, if government has some plan, suppose there is a government has some plan to develop that area, develop that. Yeah, next slide, please. Next, next one. Next one. Yeah, next. Khushbu, next, please. Yeah. So if government has a plan to develop that area as an industrial park in 5 years time horizon, the land is expected to greatly appreciated in value. So government proceed with the plan. ABC management has not decided what to do with the property. So in that case, next slide, please. In that case, we will classify this asset as an investment property because India is considered land as a held for capital appreciation if entity has not determined that will use the land either on owner occupied property or for the short term sale in the ordinary course of business. Now we come to the recognition and initial measurement part. So under Ind AS 40, the investment property shall be recognized as an asset only when it is probable that the future economic benefit associated with the investment property will flow to the entity. It is same as the Ind AS 16, and the cost or fair value can be measured reliably. The measurement part of the investment property includes the transaction cost and the directly attributable expenditures. It is as same as the Ind AS 16 or Ind AS for the property, plant and equipment. When we comes to the initial measurement, here I have given two parts, the cost element and the exclusion. In cost element, the purchase cost that can contain purchase price, import duties, non-refundable duties, deducted rates, discounts, rebates, and the directly attributable cost that can contain cost of employees benefit, cost of site preparation, initial delivery, handling cost, transportation cost, installation cost, assembly cost, professional fees, etc. Specifically, exclusion we will do in the initial measurements, that is the startup cost if there is any, operating losses incurred before the investment property achieves the planned level of the occupancy, and abnormal wastage. When it comes to the subsequent measurement, in particularly Ind AS 40, there is a change from the IFRS from where we have opted this Ind AS 40. We have only option to cost model for the subsequent measure, but fair value must be disclosed in notes to accounts. So after initial recognition, an entity shall measure all its investment properties in accordance with the Ind AS 16 requirement for cost model. If the property is not held for the sale and for the inventory purpose. Fair value can be determined reliably. One important condition we need for the investment property is fair value should be determined reliably on a continuing basis, and that fair value should be certified. It's encouraged but not required by the certified independent valuer. Now, when it comes to the fair value, what is the fair value? The fair value is price at which property could be exchanged in a arm length transaction. Fair value is a time specific dependent upon the market condition at the reporting date. And best measure of the fair value is the current price in the active market for the similar property. So the fair value of particular investment property can be governed by the Ind AS 113. Here in measurement in 113 we have a 3 level for the fair value hierarchy, the level 1, level 2 and level 3. But when we specifically come on the investment property fair valuation, our investment property fair valuation only comes with in level 2 or level 3, depends upon the company transaction. Because level 1 fair value hierarchy what say that level 1 is where quoted price of the share traded on stock exchange prices. So that will not applicable for the investment property part. For investment property part, the level 2 or level 3 can be applicable. More specifically, when it comes to the land, then the fair valuation can come under the level 2 hierarchy, because for land we have a DLC rates and circle rates. But if we have a combination both land and building, then most probably all the disclosure, if we can see in the balance sheet, most of the listed companies balance sheet are the level 3 fair value. So for the purpose of investment property, level 2 and level 3 are applicable for us. Now it comes to the disclosure part. For the disclosure under Ind AS 40, we will do the accounting policy used for the measuring the investment property balance sheet. As I have already mentioned that we have only option for the cost model. So in cost model, we will mention about the depreciation method, the useful life of that property if it contains the building part, reconciliation of gross carrying amount at the beginning and the end of the period. In notes, we will give the fair valuation of that property with the fair value model. Criteria between investment property and owner occupied property and inventory, extent to which independent valuer involved and any adjustment to the valuation obtained, rental income from that property and the operating expenses for the investment property. This is the disclosure requirement by the Ind AS 40. So now here I have covered maximum provision of the Ind AS 40, particularly in terms of recognition, measurement and the disclosure part. So when it comes to the AS 13 accounting of investment, before 30th March 2016, there were no guidance or provisions for the investment property in accounting standard. But on 30th March 2016, MCA has issued Amendment Rules 2016 to upgrade our accounting standard as notified under the Companies Act in order to align them with the Ind AS. In particular, that notification AS2, AS10 maximum and AS13, 29 was changed to make them align with the Ind AS. So what was the change in accounting standard 13? Specifically in para 3.1, investment definition has these words, the for earning income by way of rental or capital appreciation has been added, and para 3.4 of the AS 13 has been added, which has a definition of investment property that is again same as the Ind AS 40, is an investment in land and building or building that are not intended to be occupied substantially for use for the operation of the investing enterprises. So after 30th March 2016, that change has been made in the AS 13. On a classification part, it has a para 30 that an enterprise holding investment property should account for them as a long-term investment only. As we all of know, in AS 13, we have a two guidance for the classification of the investment. One is the current investment and second one is the long-term investment. So when it comes to the share investment or a mutual investment, we need to decide whether it will come, it is based on the management intent that it is come under the current investment or the long-term investment. But for specifically the investment property, accounting standard has given us the guidance that investment property should account them as a long-term investment only. And on the part of carrying value, para 32 guide us that investment classified as a long-term investment should be carried in the financial statement at cost. As we all of know that in AS 13, for the current investment, we have a guidance that we should record that on cost or market price, whichever is on the lower side. But for the long-term investment, we have a guidance that we should, the carrying value of the long-term investment should be at cost only. So the same principle is applicable on the investment property too, that is covered under AS 13. But however, the provision for diminution shall be made to recognize a decline other than the temporary in the value of the investment that will be applicable on the investment property too. Next slide, please. So what is the disclosure requirement under under accounting standard 13? So again, it's a more or less same as per Ind AS 40. The accounting policy we have used to determine the carrying amount of the investment amount included in the P&L statement for interest, dividend, specifically rental on the investments, profit or loss on the disposal of long-term investment or change in carrying amount of such investment, and other disclosure as specifically required by the relevant regulations. So what is the basic difference between the Ind AS 40 and the accounting standard 13? There is three differences which we can discuss here. The first one is the guidance on the investment property. Next slide, please. Accounting standard gives us the limited, accounting standard 13 gives us the limited guidance over the investment property. It's only about the carrying value and the presentation in the financial statement. However, in Ind AS, we have a complete dedicated Ind AS 40 for the investment property in this regard. Inclusion of the leased property. In case of AS 13, it is silent with respect to the property held by the lessee under a finance lease. But under Ind AS 40, it covers the property that is held by the lessee under the finance lease. And regarding the fair value disclosure, that is the most important part. Accounting standard 13 again is a silent for this fair value disclosure, but Ind AS 40 requires the fair value disclosure as per Ind AS 113. So in last some slides, I have tried to capture some of the examples that are being used by, it is a actual examples that has been used in some of the annual reports. The first example is for the accounting policy and the presentation of the investment property. When we draft the accounting policy specifically for the investment property, we need to cover 4 parts. The first one is the definition of investment property. What is the investment property? The language can be investment property is a property held either to earn rental income or to capital appreciation or for both, but not for sale in the ordinary course of business and use in production and supply of the goods. In the second part of the accounting policy, we will cover the recognition and measurement principles, where we will mention that investment properties are measured initially at cost, including transaction cost, and the subsequent measurement principles. In third part, we will mention about the depreciation policy. What is the depreciation policy for that particular company, where normally companies are using SLM, Schedule 2 of the Companies Act 2013, specifically the SLM method. And the fourth part that will covered by in the accounting policy will be the derecognition part, that how we will taken care the derecognition of the investment property. The second slide is, next slide is for the specifically example of the presentation. Khushbu, can you please zoom that slide more? Before slide. Yeah, it is the reporting example that we can use for the reporting purpose of the investment property. Here you can see that for the investment property note, first we need to give the gross carrying value, the opening balance of the gross carrying value of the investment property. After that, we will add or deduct or disposal the particular transaction has been done in particular accounting year, or the any reclassification of property, plant and equipment. How reclassification of any PP can be done? Like suppose there was some property that was earlier management intent was held for the capital appreciation, but for the particular year it has been decided to dispose particular asset. So here the reclassification will come. Then we will get the closing balance. After the closing balance, we will give the accumulated depreciation note and then net carrying value. It is same as the property, plant and equipment note, but different classification, different presentation here is required for the investment property. So when it comes to the disclosure part, when next slide please, Khushbu. In disclosures, we will give the measurement of the fair value. So when it comes to the measurement of the fair value, we will mention that measurement of the fair value either done by the external or an independent property valuer or by the internal management. Now companies have both the option, but it is recommended to take an external independent property valuation for the investment property. When it is done by the external independent property valuer, we need to give his or her qualification, recent experience in the valuation of property, and the relevant locations and the category of the property being valued. The second part we will give in the disclosure is the fair value that has been determined based on the market comparable approach. It is an approach for the valuation. So when it comes to the investment property, we need to use the market comparable approach because that is reflection of the recent transaction price of the similar properties. On the next part, the fair value measurement, we will categorize our investment property fair valuation either in level 2 or in level 3. It will depend on the type of the property. Before, Khushbu, pehle wali slide please. Our investment property can be categorized, as I have already mentioned that investment property can be categorized in level 2 or level 3. So as per the nature of the transaction, we will categorize the fair value measurement in level 2 or level 3 fair valuation. After that, we will mention about the restriction and realizability of the investment property if there is any. And in last, we will define that investment properties are normally a commercial properties in India, specifically their locations and the intent of the management of that commercial property, that how they have identified that these are the commercial properties. And if there is any change in valuation technique or no change in valuation technique, we need to mention here. The last one part is the disclosure part of the expenses and the income we have earned from the investment property. Here we will give the rental income if we have earned during the year. If there is any direct expenses, then we will mention that direct expenses. Then the profit arising from the investment properties, that is before depreciation and the indirect expenses. Then we will give the depreciation of that investment property, indirect expenses, and at last we will get the profit or loss arising from the investment property. It is a mandatory disclosure part we need to give in the financial statements. So it is the one of the example I have captured here for the recognition, measurement, and the disclosure part. It is a live, it was a actual annual report example. So if there is any query regarding the same, regarding Ind AS 40 or in accounting standard 13, we can here have. Khushbu, there is any query? Khushbu, I think there is a query. Khushbu?
Hi Harsha. Thanks for your good excellent deliverable on capturing investment property. There was one issue which I want to take up here. do we require to create deferred tax asset liability on investment property as the same as carried at cost? And
Yeah,
can you touch upon that point?
deferred tax is the timing difference between the depreciation as per Companies Act and the as per Income Tax Act. So as we are accounting the depreciation of investment properties too, I think that it will be covered for the deferred tax part. It will be covered for the deferred tax accounting too.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Any other query or any part, if you think that I have skipped, I can cover here without PPT too. If I'll try to cover it.
No मैम अभी तक तो कोई क्वेरी नहीं आ रही है.
So the basically India's 40 was initially when we got the investment property. That time AS 13 was not have a guidance regarding the investment properties. But after 2016, we have guidance for other companies that are covered for the accounting standard too for their investment property accounting. That's why I choose this topic to deliver for this session. When it comes to the particularly accounting part for the investment property, like how we will recognize the investment property, it is more or less same as per the property, plant and equipment. Only the classification is there is a separate classification for the investment property because it will come under the separate line item in the balance sheet phase. And the additional requirement that has been in India's 40 is the fair value measurement. For the India's balance sheet, we need to fair value all the investment property on a yearly basis. And it is recommended to all the companies that fair valuation should be done by the independent valuer, property valuer, so that the transparency or the transparency can be transparency will be there for the fair valuation part. Some of the examples that will not cover under investment property will be the sale in ordinary course of business. If it is our sale in the ordinary course of business, some of the what we can say, the property dealers, then it is inventory for them. So it will not cover under Ind AS 40. The second example can be owner occupied or employee occupied property. It will covered by the PPE, the Ind AS 16. The other one example that can be a constructed for the third party, then it will come under the revenue from customers and it will be covered under Ind AS 115. And the last example that can be a no, not an investment property, non-current asset held for sale. It will separately deal by the Ind AS 105. So these are some examples of the investment property, some of the examples that are not covered for the investment property. So any query from your side?
नो मैम शायद आप इस तरह से समझाए कि किसी भी क्वेरी नहीं आ रही है अभी. अगर ऐसा कुछ है तो मैं आपको मेल सेंड कर दूंगी.
Okay. Okay.
हाँ जी मैम.
So actually, I have concluded particular this topic in half an hour only, instead of a 1 hour. And most of the part was actually covered by the Vimal sir, so I thought not to duplicate that content.
Yes, ma'am.
So as we have time with us, there is one more point I want to add here. When uh, for the audit reports, we have a separate section for the key audit matters where we mention about the significant accounting treatments or significant transactions with the users of the report. So when it comes to the investment property, probably we are not seeing much of the key audit matters on that part because normally companies has very less asset as an investment purpose if they are a manufacturing entities or any other service industry, because only a smaller part of their property has been used as an investment property. But if we wish to uh, give the KAM for the investment property, what should we again have a what should be the proper disclosure particular in that part for KAM? First of all, we need to decide how we are identifying investment property as a key audit matter and the reason why. What is the risk associated with that part? So uh, first that part will be in the first section we will cover what is the risk in that part and how why it is important for the users, and in the second part where we will mention about our audit procedures, about our account audit we will mention about our audit procedure that we used for identification of the investment property particularly, and how we satisfied on a fair valuation of that investment property. So this is the part that can be used in the if company has a significant investment properties in their balance sheet, auditor can consider that as a KAM too. And at last, where we have discussed about the disclosure, the fair value measurement categorization. As I have mentioned that the categorization will be done in only two levels, the level 2 and the level 3. So in level 2, if company has only land part as an investment property, suppose company has a vacant land only, so that will covered under the level 2 hierarchy, because for the land we will consider we can consider the circle rate of that area or a DLC rate of that area. But if as an investment property company has a major portion of the building part, then that classification will be done in the level 3 only, because for the building we will only have much unobservable input for the fair valuation instead of the observable input. So for the building part, the level will be level 3. Categorization of the fair value will be in level 3. And for the land part, it will be in level 2. Any query from any of the participants or the viewers?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
As earlier Vimal sir gave us some insight on the lease part too, here I want to add that some of the matters that are covered under Ind AS 17 leases will not applicable for the investment for Ind AS 40, does not apply. Some of the points are classification of leases and the lease accounting, sales and leaseback transactions, recognition of the lease income from the investment property, measurement in the lessee financial statements of the property interest held under the lease accounted, measurement in the lesser financial statements and its net investment in finance lease, and disclosure about the financial lease and the operating lease. That will not cover under Ind AS 40. And when it comes to the transfer cases, like when our investment property can be treated as a property, plant and equipment, or when property, plant and equipment can be treated as investment property. So as we have already discussed in when we will classify the asset as a non-current asset held for sale, that when it comes to the disposal of the investment property, recognized in P&L unless Ind AS 17 requires otherwise on a sale or the leaseback transaction in period of that retirement or disposal. So disposal can be done in the two parts. On a derecognition can be done in two parts. One in on disposal, and second one when we permanently withdraw that investment property from use or no future economic benefit are expected from its disposal. So more or less, I have covered both the standards, the Ind AS 40 and 13, and concluded from the my side. If could you allow us, we can conclude the session.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
So thank you, ma'am, for sharing your professional knowledge with us. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, now we can conclude the meeting. So
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for the patience listening. And if anyone has any query, you can share it on a later too on an email.
okay, ma'am.
Thank you, Khushbu, and thank you, Jaipur branch of CIRC. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.